Hello, everybody, and happy almost New Year to all of you. I'm really excited that we're able to do this. It's been a hot second since we did our last live stream. Already see people populate in the chat. Appreciate you guys coming by. Yeah, lots and lots of exciting stuff to go over today. I'm going to let people start to trickle into the stream here. Looks like we got IMC, Scarlet, Rachel, EG, Horizon. Oh, greetings from the Netherlands. Thank you very much. Broston, what's up? Bubble Nugget, hello. Tim. Oh my goodness, everybody is saying hi now. This is awesome. I missed this. Brandon, hello. Doug, appreciate you. Erodius, Monkey, excellent. Fujitsu. Diego, this is always crazy that when the chat first populates. Oh my goodness. Hopefully everybody's having a good time. Hopefully everybody had a good year this year. Before we kind of get into Q&A, I kind of wanted to go a little bit into the channel stuff for you guys, just to kind of give you a kind of a thing of why I'm so jazzed. By far and away, 2022 I would consider was our best year to date, which is pretty staggering. We gained over 10,000 new members, which is just still shocking to me. So for everybody who subbed this year, welcome. We are so happy to have you as we are enjoying one of the best times for content when it comes to Horizon ever. The channel reached over 5 million views this year, which is once again just shocking to me. Yeah, we are currently like right on the verge of 30,000 subscribers, which is I know there's plenty of massive channels out there, but it just means the world to me that all of you have kind of taken this journey with us, and moving forward it's going to be really awesome. I know a bunch of people are popping in from all different parts of the world, so I appreciate all of you taking the time, especially on today. It's morning for me right now, but I definitely know that's not the case for everybody, so I appreciate you guys hopping in. But we've got a lot to dive into. I want to talk about everything that you want to get into, as far as the announcement of the DLC, The Burning Shores, which is coming. We have Call of the Mountain, which is coming out even before then, getting a PSVR 2 just so I can cover that game specifically, so really excited about that. Rumors about different stuff happening in the Horizon universe, so really, really appreciate it. Writing is Rachel. You deserve all the channel growth you've had. Congrats on your progress this year. Thank you very, very much. It's been amazing. Also, by far and away, had our biggest video ever, which was, as many of you have seen, the complete history of Horizon, which was an immense labor of love, but super happy that we got it done, and so happy that so many people enjoyed it. So I'm really excited about that. This year was when I began my HCD story. Wow, where Hephaestus' subordinate function was an ally of the tribes of an enemy. Yeah, I used your vids for the machine info on it. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, let's see here. Any word if we'll get a PC port? I would assume, Doug, that eventually Forbidden West will get a PC port because Zero Dawn got one, but I would not hold your breath. I think it's going to be a couple years before it comes out. Burning Shores is my career motivation. If I hit milestones, I can treat myself. Yeah, right? That's it looks amazing. I'm so sorry for everybody on PS4. I totally get... it's funny. I see both sides of the equation because we want to, push the kind of capabilities that the PS5 has, but I know it's either still, out of a price point for a lot of people or just can't be found for a lot of people. So I totally understand that. Do you have any thoughts on the ending of the Burning Shores trailer? Oh, yeah. So first, thank you, Rage Pig. When you make a complete Vegas video. So I have plans at some point to actually do a Metal World video in Las Vegas. That would be probably the dedicated video I want to do to Vegas to do it real justice. If you're not unfamiliar with our Metal World series, it's where I go to the actual location that the game takes place in, and we kind of combine real world history along with the lore of the game. Getting back to the original question about the ending of the Burning Shores trailer, yeah, the Horus is something that's really, really, obviously something we've been waiting for a long time. I didn't think we were going to get it until the third game, but to see that thing come to life was pretty shocking. I think that, like in my analysis of the trailer, I said that I think the Quinn are going to be pretty central in this DLC, just from what I've seen. I think it would not be shocking that they somehow managed to awaken that. I know some people are thinking like Vasilv or Nemesis. I think this is an opportunity, much like the Frozen Wilds was, to highlight a different tribe and give them a kind of really juicy plot line to dig into. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to resurrect one. Let's see here. Radon, did you like Zero Dawn more or Forbidden West? That's a hard question because a sequel is always going to be hard to follow as far as how much hype and how much magic the first one was able to achieve. And I really think it's a worthy addition into the Horizon story Forbidden West was, but it's going to be hard for anything to beat Zero Dawn for me, just because everything was new. Everything was just kind of unfolding in front of you, and you didn't know everything yet. So I think that Zero Dawn is still my favorite, but I did enjoy Forbidden West quite a bit. Let's see. Hello, Ricardo. I have been to the old BOR7 sites to get a closer look at the inner workings. Well, keep it up. T. Harris, will Nemesis wake the Horus Pharaoh bots? Spoilers, the first video that I'm going to be doing in the new year is actually an entire speculation on Nemesis and how I think its planning of attack is going to go. So it could, I think it has the capability to do so. After all, the whole point of Nemesis was to be able to take whatever consciousness was part of the Nemesis hive mind that Far Zenith created and transfer that consciousness to any kind of form, mechanical or organic. So I think anything's up for grabs. It's an incredibly highly advanced artificial intelligence that I think very much like Hades tried to awaken the Pharaoh swarm through Minerva. I think that Nemesis could do something similar. However, I'm not sure if it needs to. I think it might. Its true instrument, I think, is going to be its own nanotechnology, because I think that's very devastating. The reveals in Forbidden West were so great. Hades Proving Lab, the talk of Gaia, and the end of the game. Yeah, there was a lot of really good revelations in there. Like at the beginning, I was a little bit like, wow, they're really going heavy into the Far Zenith and science fiction side of things, even though Horizon is a science fiction game. So it took me a little bit to adjust to that, but overall, there were some really cool revelations in this game as well. Do you think Vast Silver will be controlling the BOR7 Horus? I know a lot of people are really hungry for Vast Silver. I am too. I'm not sure at this moment in time. I definitely can't say confidently whether it is or isn't. I'm still not convinced that Vast Silver is going to be an enemy, especially now that we know that who the real enemy is in Nemesis, being the fact that it did, at least through testimonials and several data points in Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, seem to be wanting human connection in some way. So I'm not sure if its kind of main motivation is to do harm onto humans. I hope we see more of the Quinn tribe in the DLC. I hope so too, Horizon Mysteries, and I think we're going to get that, honestly. I really hope Vast Silver becomes our ally against Nemesis. I think that's going to be a through line. It might be Gaia and Vast Silver versus Nemesis, because at this point, Nemesis may be the most powerful artificial intelligence there is at the present time. I imagine Hephaestus with a scarab. Oh boy. Yeah, and Hephaestus is still out there too. And Hephaestus has shown no type of reservations about destroying humanity, so that could just be its next step. However, awaking a Pharaoh machine does take some knowledge of the inner workings of that. The Eclipse was able to do that through kind of the knowledge Hades provided for it, and also kind of Nemesis in that chain of command there. So it would take some knowing to awaken any kind of Pharaoh machine, unless they were the ones that were in Thebes and they were just kind of ready to go. Um, let's see here. Do you think Hephaestus will be the subject of the Burning Shores, or will the third game be about getting it? Well, Matt, it could be. I think that would be a little bit too one-to-one for the Frozen Wilds because that DLC was super Hephaestus heavy. I would say that you're probably going to get a little bit more information about Hephaestus. I would be surprised if they went back to the well and made Hephaestus the main antagonist for this DLC as well. What did you love more, Frozen Wilds or the Ruins of Las Vegas? That's the thing. I've been wanting Vegas in Horizon for years. You can look at my old live streams and podcasts before the game came out, and that was on my wish list. So I really enjoyed the Frozen Wilds. It may be my favorite part of the first game, honestly. Just the leaps that it took in body models and things like that. It just seems so much more alive in that aspect, and you really connected with the characters. But I was really happy with how they handled Vegas. I think Still Sands is probably my favorite part of the second game. Happy New Year from Malaysia. Thank you very much, Jameer. I appreciate you being here with us. You think the next Horizon is ended Aloy history? The next Horizon? I think it'll probably bring Aloy's story to a close. I don't think it needs to go on beyond a third game. I think you can offer a really good resolution, as well as continuing other stories in the Horizon universe, like we're seeing with Call of the Mountain, as well with the rumored multiplayer game that I'm also very excited about. Do you think the glitch has to do with the confidential programs Tate mentioned in Hades' lab, or is it just showing Pharaoh had his hands everywhere? I think that was meant to hint that, the thing with Pharaoh, his whole legacy is not could you, it's should you. So I think any manner of thing could have gone wrong, and the fact that the security protocols weren't designed with a way for them to patch those mistakes after they were uploaded is problematic. I think there still could be a greater connection as to where the glitch came from, or it could simply just be, a byproduct of hubris. One of those projects, those cyber nukes, as they like to put them, it could be kind of the main factor behind the initial glitch, right? It kind of depends on if you're of the thought process that the initial glitch was connected to the unknown transmission, or not. We absolutely know for a fact now that Nemesis was behind the unknown transmission. Obviously wouldn't be behind the initial glitch now, because it hadn't been created yet, or at least in the way that we know it. Having not played Horizon Forbidden West yet. Oh, gosh. Doug, just fair warning, there's going to be a lot of spoilers in here. Having not played Horizon Forbidden West yet, I'm curious as to why the Shield Weaver armor is gone. Well, it's not... Spoilers, by the way. Like, all this is going to be incredibly spoiler heavy. It's not necessarily gone. There's a piece of text that essentially says the power source of the Ultra Weave went out. So you are wearing it, it's just not powered up. And you have a ability that you can lock into later through the skill tree that kind of lets you tap into a little bit of its capability again. But that's kind of their reasoning behind why you don't have it in the beginning of the game. Let's see here. Missed the start of the stream, so if you already went over this, apologies, but what's your guess of the cause of the awakened Horus? We did talk about that a little bit, but that's okay. I'll just touch on it. I do think it's something to do with the Quinn. I think the Quinn have the capability to kind of know at least enough to mess with it. And narratively, I think that this is a great opportunity to kind of dive into who the Quinn really are, much like we found out about the Banuk in the Frozen Wilds. You think Hephaestus is an ally in the next Horizon? Maybe not a willing one. At this point, Hephaestus really doesn't like humanity, and probably Aloy in particular, just judging by their history. So I think that, I don't know. I think he'll probably start off as an enemy and then probably absorbed into the Gaia heuristic matrix, and then at that point might be an ally. Do you think we will go to the Quinn's homelands? That would be really cool, and especially since we don't know exactly where it is. I know a lot of people think Hawaii. I don't buy into that. I would probably guess Asia, probably China specifically, because there is a cradle there that we know of, Aletheia 1, I believe. So to put a cradle on Hawaii, I think would be kind of inefficient from a building standpoint, because, and also Hawaii got absolutely wrecked around the year 2029, close to, it's before 2030. There's a data point that essentially says that almost a category 6, I think, hurricane just destroyed Hawaii. And from there, a lot of transplants actually ended up in Las Vegas, kind of starting their second home there if they survived. So I don't think it's Hawaii. I would guess Asia if I was to take a gander. Hello, Kirsty's Focus. Welcome to the chat. Always appreciate you popping in. Let's see what else. In Zero Dawn, Tirsa talks about the only other child outcast she knows of, a 13-year-old boy who killed his mom. Do you know who this is? Oh, man. I could probably find out off the top of my head. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Do you think that as overriding machines become more common, we'll see machine domestication to expand on technology similar to animal domestication in history? That's an interesting possibility. I think it would have to be somebody like the Oseram or the Quinn, who kind of have a really good understanding of how that works, to kind of stumble upon the Pharaoh technology that allows Aloy and Silence and everybody else who's kind of harnessed it before. So you would need to understand where that technology comes from and how to harness it. So potentially, we see kind of, it's not so much domestication as much as it's just a machine fulfilling its intended role with the land gods of the Utaru, but they were designed to keep those automated farming facilities operational for the inhabitants of the command center, regional command center 9, if Apollo educated humans had been there. So that's as close as we get right now as to machine domestication. But any kind of thing that seems to come close to that, whether it's the Utaru or the Banuk, is less of domestication and actually more of machine reverence. So it would need somebody who has a less spiritual attachment to the machines, I think, to go for that. And Doug, I'm glad you're okay with spoilers. You're going to get a lot. You think the trials is end because we have Apollo now? Steampunk. Oh, like the tribal civilization will end because we have Apollo. Here's the thing that I've always thought about Apollo. Just because you have the knowledge, it's going to take a lot for people to accept what it is, especially if you have entire societies and pantheons and religions kind of dedicated to a specific way of thinking for a really, really long time. So you're going to have to do a lot of, for lack of a better term, education and easing people into that. So I still think that we're going to have a tribal society in the third game, because I think it's going to take a lot for people to accept it. And there might be people who don't want to. I mean, you can even look at the Nora, and if you gave Apollo to Nora, I don't think their life would change very much. They're pretty dead set on a very Luddite existence. You know, it's technology's bad. We don't want to participate in that. When the third game comes out, what would you like to see at the end game for cutscenes? For the third game, oh boy, that is hard, because I don't know where the third game is really going. I thought I had a handle of where the second game was going, and then they just threw Far Zenith on top of everything. So take all this with a grain of salt, because you can only speculate on what you know is there. I would like Aloy to live, ideally. I could totally see her dying, though, kind of going the martyr route. I'd like to see her live and get whatever closure that she's looking for, right? I know a lot of people ship her with different characters, and I'm not necessarily buying into the fact that she needs a romantic interest, but I do hope that she finds whatever her happiness looks like. Maybe that's kind of settling down with Beta, getting closer with her sister, so that way they have that connection, so she finds that kind of familial love that she's actually been searching for the whole time. I could totally kind of see that being her idea of happiness. Because, I'm not sure if anything else is going to happen. I just hope that she's finally allowing herself to be happy because her watch is ended, so to speak. Sweet. So happy to see you here, and happy New Year's Eve as well to you and everybody else who's hopping into the chat for the first time here. Let's see here. Who else do we have? I'm not looking for... Ooh, this one's hard, right? I'm not looking forward to Sona finding out about Varl. Yeah, because, that's both of her kids now. That would be really hard. And I think Sona's a really dynamic character that we don't get to know a lot about in the game. We're told that she's essentially the greatest Nora brave in the tribe's history. So without kids, she's really got nothing to lose at this point now, I suppose. I'm still confused about why Nemesis is a threat if all the Zeniths are dead. Surely, if it's part of their minds, it would know they are dead and move on. Right. So from what we understand about Nemesis is they're less of connected consciousness, and it's more of a copied consciousness from the Zeniths that participated into Far Zenith. So it does have all of their memories and what it knew during the upload, but I think any new information would not be shared, at least willingly, by the Zeniths. So even if the Zeniths are gone, it might not know that yet, and it still may have set plans in motion that are kind of too late to stop as far as what its plans are for Earth. And now, being that we stopped Hades from eliminating Earth the first time, it could hold a vendetta against the rest of the planet as well. But there's some... And I don't want to, like I said, I'm doing a whole exploration on this for the first video of the next year, but it's... I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm not necessarily sure. I think its founder has a lot to do with the personality that we're going to be dealing with when it comes to Nemesis. I think that is a story that is going to unfold in a big way in the next game. Sweet, thank you so much for your donation. Still my favorite HCD and Horizon Forbidden West channel. Love you guys. Thank you, Sweet, and thank you so much for your long-time support of the channel. You've been here for quite some time, and I greatly appreciate it. Zoe really needs to visit the Nora/Sona because of her and Varl's child. I think that would be a really nice way to make that happen, to bring Sona into the story again. Because, yeah, we got baby, little Utaru Nora baby coming, which is pretty sweet. Do you think Elysium is in Hollywood? Michael, I don't. I actually think it's fairly close to... Allmother Mountain. There's a data point within the bunker in the very beginning of the game that talks about, like, there are no transports that are going to be able to take the beta and gamma personnel to Elysium. But if you want to chance it, it's only, I think, several miles away. However, it's several miles in an unbreathable climate because it's so far gone in the Pharaoh Plague, and it's crawling with chariot line robots. So you can either die in the bunker, die trying to get to Elysium, or maybe make it to Elysium. So I do think Elysium is close to the Nora Sacred Land, unless that gets changed somehow. Have you seen Noxious Asp theory on Nemesis and Vassilver? I'm familiar with Noxious, I believe. I've seen some of his machine spotlight videos, and they're really good. I purposely try to not watch a lot of theory stuff from other creators, principally because I don't want there to be any kind of plagiarism for anybody else's ideas. And also, before I like to set my theory out there first, and then I'll take a look around, principally because I don't like to be influenced from kind of outside from what I'm seeing. I'll definitely change my mind if I see other things, but as far as that goes, I try to leave the theories to other people before I put mine out there, just so that way there's no cross-contamination there. But Vassilver is always a very, very fascinating subject, for sure. Dusky, got some South Africans in here. Welcome to the chat. Okay. Elysium would have to be in a tall and geologically stable place. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if it was embedded somewhere because I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it was put where NORAD is. I know a lot of people kind of assume the word Nora comes from NORAD, which it could. It's and the fact that Aletheia 9 wasn't in NORAD, it's in Pikes Peak. You can tell by the actual like longitude and latitude they give you. So I wouldn't be surprised if Elysium would end up being in NORAD. Doug, thank you so much for the super chat just for your channel. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Doug. I really, really appreciate it. It's very kind. Let's see. What is Elysium? That's a fine question. So Elysium is was the facility that Alpha, Beta, and Gamma personnel who worked on Zero Dawn were supposed to live out the rest of their lives in post-Zero Day. The Alphas never made it. They were kind of held up in Gaia Prime, completing their work. And then some Gamma Beta personnel are presumed to have made it there, not all. And the last kind of thing about Elysium that's pretty interesting is, evidently, according to this new Gaia's research on the matter, kind of going through the information she has, Elysium went offline far before it was supposed to. It was supposed to last the people living there roughly 100 years, but that didn't happen. And that's actually low-key my speculation for the new Horizon Netflix series, is that we're going to find out a little bit more about what happened to Elysium. I could totally see kind of like a split story for the Netflix series between Aloy's journey and also somebody living in Elysium kind of recalling their experience of the 21st century, the Pharaoh Plague, so you kind of get both perspectives. And being that the series, at least at this point, is called Horizon 2077, I believe, there's really nothing else going on besides people living out the rest of their lives in Elysium. So there you go. There is a Horizon Netflix series. There will be. I believe it's supposed to come out in 2024, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that part. They have the Odyssey now, correct? I wonder if they'll use it to travel across the world. That would be interesting. I'm a little hesitant on any Horizon in space, but I am excited to see what repercussions kind of come from what's on the Odyssey, whether it's the ectogenic chambers, their build of Apollo, which I'm sure is going to come in really, really big, and potentially all the life extension therapy stuff that the Zeniths had, which, coincidentally, if you watched my analysis for the trailer, you'd know that one of the more interesting things that I hope they touch on, we'll see if it happens, but the Juventus Center in Beverly Hills was dedicated to life extension therapies. It was like the pioneering place that did that, and that is in the Los Angeles area. So that would be a cool ruin to visit. RSQ from Vantage Point. How do you think a boss battle with Nemesis will go? That is the thing, right? From what I understand and what I've seen and what kind of beta talks about, you're basically dealing with a massive swarm of nanomachines. So you'd need some kind of weapon to counter that, and also get into the programming and do something with all of those kind of shared consciousness. It's far different than any enemy that we've ever gone after before. We've never faced down an AI less than perhaps the most powerful AI on the board right now. So that'll be interesting. Definitely have to deal with all the nanotechnology that exists there. So yeah, maybe, you know what? I would say potentially how you could loop Vast Silver in is because there's testimony that says Vast Silver was captured. You could go through Vast Silver's past, figure out how Vast Silver was captured as a means to then kind of jump off and find a way to capture another AI, that being Nemesis. So if you wanted to kind of loop Vast Silver into that quest line, I think that would be a good way to do it. You find Vast Silver, how do they capture you, shows you how to do it, comes up with a more powerful way to do so, then you go after Nemesis that way. Yeah, I like that idea. Personally, I'm excited. In the ruins of Burbank, future humans wandering through Warner Bros. Like, what a strange city this is. That's what I always thought about Vegas too. Or I doubt that we're ever going to be able to visit like Disneyland or something like that, just because of the licensing. But that'd be pretty wild too. They're like, why is there a castle next to this fake mountain? And that was also one of my favorite parts of the Frozen Wilds, where you have that Banuk shaman in the visitor center for Yellowstone, looking at all the Montana recreations of the animals, and just speculating on what everything was for. Like moose antlers were meant for camouflage, or they were carnivorous. Just, I want to see the wild speculation that goes on there. Because, yeah, when all you're doing is looking at it, you don't have much more information. It's like, your guess is as good as mine. Do you think in the Burning Shores we will find out more about Enduring Victory and maybe find a Pharaoh facility which might have helped the Quinn repair BOR7 and maybe find a proving ground for the Horus? Yeah, so I think that we're definitely going to get some more Enduring Victory stuff. The West Coast was a hotbed for combat during the Pharaoh Plague. As far as the Pharaoh stuff goes, Ted Pharaoh went to school in UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles, until he dropped out in 2033, I think, 2033, to go found Pharaoh Technologies. And that could have happened in Los Angeles. Eventually, we kind of see, at least from the Vista Point and Thebes, that the Transamerica skyscraper was somehow affiliated with Pharaoh. So their corporate offices could have been there before moving to Salt Lake, where we find it finally in Zero Dawn. But I do think we're going to get more Pharaoh history, or I hope so, potentially more Pharaoh history before he kind of becomes the Pharaoh that we know him today. Aloy bringing Kotalo a seashell. Oh, Kotalo would be like, thank you. And that's all you get from him. What about the facility that built the Horus? I'm sure it was huge. Yeah, that could be really, really interesting as well. Eventually it kind of is inferred that somehow a Horus could potentially end up making another Horus, or just the fact that it could self-replicate. So, whether it's just kind of manufacturing parts and then having scarabs build those into actual other Horuses, but at least where the first ones were built and manufactured, that would be pretty fascinating. Why did Zenith gamble with Beta unsuited and unshielded and wanted to kill Aloy? Keys to the system. That is interesting. Yeah, you'd think that they might put a shield around Beta, just considering that she is a very valuable asset. And I think Aloy was kind of viewed with having Beta as a dangerous redundancy to their plan, which obviously she ended up being. So I could see why they didn't want Aloy around, but you need to keep Beta alive to get through all of the biometric keys that Zero Dawn had. Where do you know where Miriam Technologies HQ is located? That's a really good question. I think it's somewhere in San Francisco. I'm gonna have to double check the Vista points again. Somewhere in the Tech Archipelago, but that's one place that I would really like to visit, and I think that's a great way for Aloy to get more information about Elizabeth as well. I was really happy that we got some more information on Miriam through the Vista points, but I'm always wanting more. Do you think Cyan will be in Horizon 3? I don't think so, but I hope so. Cyan is one of my favorites. I know that Cyan is a big favorite for a lot of people who play Horizon. Kind of got a line describing its stranger danger policy now. Gaia reached out to Cyan, but the last time something reached out to Cyan, it was Hephaestus, and it didn't go well. So there was no response from Cyan. She is in her cave and just chilling out. That shaman would have had the best time learning about Artemis. Yeah, Aurea is pretty great. Oh, actually, that shaman, yeah. You're like, what is going on? That's just, I love it when Guerrilla kind of takes the position of what people with no context would view the old world like. And that's kind of how so many of the cultures in Horizon were developed in general. Yeah, if she's unshielded, she's less likely to run. That's true, but also more likely to die. Horizon is not a safe world, especially if you don't know anything about it. Do you think we can use Zenith Tech to make an even better Shield Weaver armor or better super armor? I think that's actually probably more of a gameplay decision from the devs. They really had to nerf the Ultra Weave in the first game, because I remember playing and you got the Ultra Weave before they nerfed it, and it was just god tier amazing. And then they had to nerf it, and then in the second game they're like, you know what, we're just going to do away with it. So I'm not sure if they're going to end up doing anything with the Ultra Weave again. I think that they're more committed to making more armor sets that are more specific to kind of force you to use different skill sets and better builds. Silence will digitally transcend his mind and take on Nemesis as X Factor subfunction. I talked about that in a video recently. Not opposed to the idea. What do you think is a Nemesis visual? Maybe Ultron vibes. Maybe like taking the... That's the thing. It can really take the form of anything it wants if it works properly. So you could definitely get Ultron vibes where it's not just one thing. There's a couple different kind of manifestations of Nemesis, and you kind of have to track down the main one. But I wouldn't be surprised if you found like shades of Nemesis that you have to kind of destroy. Tripcaster got a massive nerf, too much of a nerf. Yeah, you guys didn't like the all those videos of like one-shotting a Thunder Job by just tripcastering like a million things. Those are pretty funny. RSQ, kind of a random question, but any ideas why Apex Grimhorns have purple eyes? It's unlike any other machines. I never noticed they had purple eyes. Purple kind of has been a theme of Hephaestus since the Frozen Wilds, though. If you looked at corrupted machines, they had a really kind of purple vibe to them. So maybe that kind of just harkens back to the fact that they are being manipulated by Hephaestus in kind of a nefarious way. And that's kind of a callback to Frozen Wild. Sorry, not corrupted. Daemonic machines. Yeah, so the daemonic machines have that purple kind of tentacle theme action to them. RSQ, I hate to bring this up, but you know the rule in games and movies, and we never actually saw Rost's body. Oh, yeah. Everybody, hey, listen, that's the DLC I want. I'm not sure that I would like to see Rost live again, because his death is so poignant and defining in Aloy's life, even though we love Rost. I'd love to find out more about him. He did travel into the Forbidden West and kill some folks in his death-seeking mission. But I would love to find either like another kind of Call of the Mountain thing surrounding Rost's story, or a DLC dedicated to Rost's story. But definitely want more Rost. Yeah, I know a lot of people think that about Tilda. Like we kind of saw, like we saw the hand fall, which is like implicated death, but some people aren't buying that either. Can take the form of whatever it wants. It's already here. Kidding. Yeah. You think this DLC will answer about Nemesis' origin? We'll probably get a little bit more information, maybe not about Nemesis, but about Far Zenith. And that could kind of give us some more hints to Nemesis, but I think that's going to be like the thing in the third game. Regarding the Burning Shores, we saw a Horus in the trailer, and that's pretty huge. Usually we don't see the biggest reveal in the trailer, so what will we learn in Burning Shores that will feel bigger? That's a really good question too. Yeah, because you don't want to spoil your big reveal in the trailer. I would be thinking that maybe at the end of the DLC, it's going to reveal to us where the third game is going to take place. So kind of setting that up might be the big reveal. Daniel, you have the most relaxing ASMR voice in your videos. I hope they have you read a Horizon audiobook if they ever do it. Well, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. No, it's so funny. People have talked to me in the past, way early on about how I should be narrating videos. And the thing about Horizon lore, and I've said this before, a lot of it's really somber. A lot of it is not super like, hey guys, let's talk about how everybody's dead and the Pharaoh plague. So it's kind of like this is the tone. It's a little less energetic. It's more like, this is sad. A lot of it is sad. It starts off with the most sad. It gets better, and then there's more sad. But thank you. That's a really kind compliment. Do you think from a writing point of view they could have set up Nemesis better? I thought it felt tacked on. They could have ended the story in Horizon Forbidden West. From a writing standpoint, the thing that I try not to buy into is the fact that, for me personally, it's hard to gauge because I had a ton of headcanon going into this game. Because you had a 5-year story where I was literally staring at data points and hints and clues and trying to piece things together. So it did feel a little bit out of the blue to me, because I don't think you could have seen it coming, which is its best thing and its worst thing, right? It was definitely a surprise because we really didn't have a lot of information towards anything concerning Nemesis, because what we knew about Far Zenith was really limited as well. So it did seem a little bit out of the blue, but also that's kind of my personal experience. I was very happy that it wasn't Far Zenith in a way that set the signal. That was a good call, in my opinion. It needed to be something else. RSQ, are you getting the VR equipment to play Call of the Mountain or watching streamers? The equipment is so expensive. I did bite the bullet. I am getting a PSVR 2 so that way I can bring you guys Call of the Mountain content. So I'm excited to play it, but most importantly, I'm excited to dive into Reyes' story, and so we'll have plenty of Call of the Mountain content here for you guys. I know it's expensive. But thanks to you guys and your support, we can kind of supplement that through the channel. And we have some more exciting stuff for the channel coming soon that I don't want to get into so much today. But yeah, it's well, you'll get your Call of the Mountain fix if you're not able to play it yourself here. So be sure that you'll be checking that out. Love these games so much. The lore was great. The lore is great, and I think still wildly underrated. Let's see here. Do you think we will see Artemis facility where the animals of ZD were born? Last I checked, birds seem to be really hard to clone. Oh, birds seem to be really hard to clone. The interesting thing about Artemis is that it didn't finish its function for what we know so far. Humans were supposed to be educated and take control of Artemis, along with many other functions of Zero Dawn, to release those second tier animals, or not second tier, but phase 2 organisms rather. And that never happened. That's why you don't see things like lions and wolves and kind of those apex predator things out there in Horizon's world. So I'm not sure where it's located. Maybe we could see that, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are multiple facilities, much like cauldrons and cradles, and then we might be able to harness kind of releasing more animals through the command center. I think that might be more. I don't think it's a singular facility as much as it would need to be a number of different facilities to see that happen. Let's see. Will you do a Let's Play on Call of the Mountain? I'm definitely looking to watch someone play through the full thing. I think I'm going to do some kind of... I know I kind of want to do like the river ride. I know there's like 2 modes. Where there's like the main story and there's one with the river. You know, give like a first impression that isn't spoilery for the story. So yeah, I'd probably put some footage on there for you guys. But definitely want to dive into the story and what we discovered there. Interesting to see how Game Capture is going to go for that. Anything Horizon is exciting. I am in agreement, for sure. Let's see. I'm going to pass on the VR game. Just watch others play it instead. Can't justify the cost. Like I said, completely understand. If I didn't have the channel, I probably wouldn't feel super crazy about doing it either. Because, yeah, it's definitely an investment, to say the least. Maybe Nemesis is solely Peter's mind, not all the minds of Far Zenith. Tilda has a habit of lying. There is... I do think... the story of Peter Shinvumbe is going to be central to Nemesis. I think there's a lot of symbolism behind names. You know, Horizon's kind of notorious for that as well. Like Nemesis being the god of, you know, retribution against those who see themselves better than the gods. And I think Far Zenith definitely fits that bill. So I would not be surprised at all. But Peter died long before the Pharaoh Plague. Yes, that's true, Scarlet. However, he was very involved in transhumanism. His kind of efforts and his funding founded the Center for Transhuman Studies, which kind of pioneered Far Zenith's work in digital upload and digital transcendence. So that's something that they worked on for about half a decade at least that we know of. I think there's some things. That's the thing, right? Physically, did his body go? Sounds like it, but maybe not mentally, you know. In his words, the natural evolution from immortality of the human spirit to immortality of the human mind. So if you're interested in that lore, there's a great data point that really kind of dives into it called Revisiting the Mind Upload. If you want to learn more about that, I would definitely give that a read. Let's see here. Diego asks, did you apply for the lore job at Gorilla? So here's what I will say about that. I did apply for the lore position at Gorilla. Everybody that I interacted with and interviewed with were incredibly wonderful, consummate professionals. It was an incredibly cool thing to be able to do. For the foreseeable future, I will be focusing my efforts here on YouTube. So as long as you guys aren't sick of me, I think I'm going to keep making content here. But that's the answer to that question. But yeah, everybody at Gorilla was really great. Let's see here. What's your favorite machine in the whole series so far? I've always been a fan of the Snap Maw. Always been a fan of the Snap Maw. It's got so many cool animations and stuff like that. Let's see here. If you notice, like, it's just sorry, trying to get my thoughts together here. But yeah, if you like watch Snap Balls for a long time, they do a bunch of crazy things. They like eject parts of their bodies. They like sunbathe and stuff like that. I just think they're a really, really cool machine in general. And it's one of those kind of, it's Zero Dawn machine. So Zero Dawn machines always have a place near and dear to my heart. Been seeing a lot of love for Horizon on the timeline lately, which is great to see. Still few hitting on the game, but mostly positive. You know, not all games are for everybody, and also not all games are for everybody at every time. Like, there's some moments where I definitely want to play a really story-driven game that's really deep and makes you think. And there's some days I just want to play Smash Bros. I think that's totally fine. You know, I never want to hate on anybody's preferences. You know, luckily we're in a time where generally there's a game out there for everybody. And I think that's a really wonderful place for the industry to be in. Did you ever spam Terra Blast arrows at Snap Maw's back? It's incredibly satisfying. It is incredibly satisfying. Just like... Do you think there will actually be a third game? What bigger stakes could there be for Aloy to face that's possible? Threat to the planet Earth? Maybe they will finish her story with this DLC. I think there will definitely be a third game. I think there's just too much money to be to be made there, and I think Nemesis is something that should be resolved in its own game. Horizon Mysteries, random side quest. Gaia said that there are functional seed banks under the facility, but they can't deploy seeds because they don't have Hephaestus. I thought that was really interesting too. Just kind of, once again, I think Demeter also had kind of a phase 1, phase 2 set of flora that they wanted to deploy, but only phase 1 got that to happen. I think humans are necessary for the second part too. Do you feel Horizon got snubbed at the Game Awards? Listen, I love me some Horizon, and I think I know that visuals and graphics are different, but they really did need to win some kind of award for how visually stunning the game was, at the very least, right? They were up against some stiff competition. I'm not sure if you guys played Ragnarok, Platinum that game. The first one was amazing. Second one was also amazing. So, but I do think between like Elden Ring, Ragnarok, I think the visuals for Horizon were by far and away really amazing. And I think the music probably needs a second look too. The fact that it didn't win anything did make me sad. Let's see. Let's see here. I love your stuff and the live streams. Thank you, Ryan. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. That said, the vast majority of my time... Oh, that got passed up. Got to go back up. Where was it? That said, the vast majority of this time was definitely Horizon Zero Dawn this year. Folks, I played more console PC than 2022. Oh, getting that PC stuff. MRMCFAT3, thank you so much for your Super Chat donation. Happy New Year. Love the channel. Weird question, but any meat to Alva's tribe's theory that people went to the moon? Could there be people up there? People definitely were on the moon in the 21st century. They had mining operations up there, both uh, mechanically manned, excuse me, but also there were humans up there. Whether they escaped there after the Pharaoh Plague is up for debate, but there were facilities up there for humans. Whether they could last 1,000 years, that's the thing that really makes things difficult. There's a couple data points that talk about mining on the moon. I think there's one called Luna Calling, which talks about it a little bit more. But you can definitely find those. They were mining the moon along with asteroids and all other things. That's if you. Speaking of vantage points, I know somebody brought that up as far as the first game goes. Bashar Mati, the person who made the vantage points, was working at Bryce Orbital, the place that eventually became the Zero Dawn staging facility, to launch rockets to far off asteroids for mining. So that was something they were doing in the 21st century. Low-key wanted Stray to win Game of the Year, LOL. I haven't actually played that game, Dusky. Is it worth playing? I'd love I'd love some opinions on that. It seems adorable. Let's see here. Is the game worth $30? It's on sale. I think so, but obviously I'm very biased. I really like Forbidden West, if that's what you're talking about. I'm not sure. If you're talking about Stray 2, I don't know either. Says there are 8 Utaru Festival, but the song notes for the land gods are only 7, unless there are 2 land gods. Yeah, there's a couple festivals that are talked about very, very briefly. I can't really answer with a lot of authority on the number that there are, but I think, yeah, Solfege is what's like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? No? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So 8 for 8? So maybe that makes sense. Stray is worth playing. It's really fun and relaxing with gorgeous music and wonderful story. So yeah, like sometimes I want to sit down and play a game like that. Like I played Journey and I played Flower, and sometimes it's just really just nice to calm down and just decompress. Things are not as high stakes. Will we see Elysium in the Burning Shores DLC? I don't think so. I think Elysium is located somewhere close to the Nora Sacred Land. But like I said a little bit earlier, I think there is a chance that we might kind of get to see the fate of Elysium in the Horizon Netflix series when it comes out. Let's see here. What new machines do you want to see in the DLC? I'm going to say it once. I've said it again. I want a whale shark machine. That's what I want. I want a whale shark machine that helps purify the oceans and acts as kind of like an underwater cauldron or tall neck. Probably not a cauldron, but like a tall neck, so that way you can swim through and do everything like that. I've been wanting that for a while. That's like on my wish list. I think that'd be super cool. It makes sense, right? You need a filtration machine to help clean the oceans. Victor, hey there. I like your content a lot, and thank you for it, and wanted to know your opinion on what the DLC for Forbidden West might be about in your opinion. Thank you, Victor. I appreciate that. I think it's going to be a Quinn-centered DLC. I think that we're probably going to find out a little bit more about Ted Faro, maybe a little bit about Vast Silver, but mostly in relation to how that its creation proved that the singularity had happened and how that contributed to digital transcendence. And we're going to fight a big old metal devil, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Hannah, Stray really stressed me out because anytime I messed up, the cat got hurt and I would cry. That does sound a little bit stressful. Now that you bring it up, you're like, here's something adorable. Let nothing happen to it. Do you think we'll have multiple DLC for this game? As much as I would like there to be multiple DLC for the game, Zero Dawn only had one, so I think there is a better than not chance that this will be the only DLC for the game, which, like I said, what bums me out significantly. I really hope I'm wrong, but yeah, it was. We only got one for the first game, so I'm gonna go with one for this one. When does the DLC release? I believe April 19th of next year. I think it's April 19th. What was the hardest trophy for you to get in either game? I don't know. I will say probably one of the harder things in this game to do was fighting the Enduring. I will say that. Took me a couple tries. I'm not sure if there was a trophy associated with that, but um, yeah, I platinum both games, but I'm not sure. That one definitely was a stickler for me, though. Why do you think the Horse in the Burning Shores trailer is facing out to sea? I'll have to look at the trailer again and see if it is. It might have just been turning around to fight something. But yeah, you'd think it would be facing inland, so I'll have to take another look. I want an enormous Brachiosaurus machine. That would be pretty sweet too. But I think the tall net kind of fills that goal. I know most people say it's based off a giraffe, but there's definite, like, you can't look at it and tell me there's not definite Jurassic Park vibes when that thing walks by. Let's see. This DLC should be massive, with over a year removed and exclusive to PS5. Like I said, if you're gonna make a DLC that is exclusive to the 5, it should, I hope it is stunning. I hope it is just like above and beyond and harnesses all the power of that console. Because if not, then yeah, it should have released it for the PS4. I hope there will be 2 DLCs because one could focus on the Quinn and the other getting Hephaestus back, just so we can focus on Nemesis plus Fast Silver Elysium, I hope, in the 3rd game. Trust me, I want all the DLC. I want all the DLC. I think that would be amazing. Let's see here. The Tide Ripper is a plesiosaur, though. I mean, it is, but I think you need more machines. Just like you have a ton of machines that helped rewild the planet, I think you would probably need different machines to help filter out the ocean. It's a big thing. I wonder how much Burning Shores will cost. That's a good question. I would probably say around $30, maybe. I don't know, though. But the game will come to PC eventually, right? Some of my favorite PC YouTubers really are wanting to play it. Like I said, Zero Dawn came to PC, so I would think that Forbidden West would come to PC, but it will, I imagine, that's going to happen very similarly to this one, where it'll probably drop on PC before the 3rd game comes out. Kind of build hype up around that again. Would you like to see more massive settlements like Meridian? I would, and I would love to. I'm not sure if we're ever going to see it, but I would love to see kind of the Quinn Imperial City, because it must be so much more advanced than anything else we've seen in Horizon so far, because they themselves are more advanced than any other civilization that we know of in Horizon. I wonder what they're planning on doing with the old Karja fort behind the northeast border of the camp, if not a second DLC in that area. Yeah, for those of you who are unaware, it's like around the Daunt, I believe, there is a Karja fortress that pretty much seems like it was supposed to be a playable area, but maybe got cut for time. We could see a DLC there, or it could be completely abandoned. I know that in Zero Dawn there were some things like that. I know, there's a couple gates that were supposed to go to like the Claim and things like that, but didn't have enough time and kind of decided to allocate resources elsewhere. So that could just be something that was left on the cutting room floor. Yeah. RSQ, what's your favorite tribal capital city so far? Capital city, that's an interesting one. Okay, so what do we got to work with? We got Meridian. We have Plainsong. Would we consider Mother's Crown to be, or Mother's? They have a couple kind of, maybe All Mother Mountain might just be their spiritual capital. For the Banuk, it's Ban-Ur, but we've never been there. We've been to the Cut. We've never seen the Quinn one. I think Meridian is always very stunning. Plainsong has a lot of good, it's incredibly well designed, I think. I guess you would probably consider the Memorial Grove the capital of the Tenakth, being that before they were each individual tribal capitals. I'm going to go with classic. I'm going to go with Meridian. I think the city on the mesa is pretty great. I hope we see the Claim at some point. I would too. It's said to be north of the north of Meridian. But So you'd have to kind of backtrack a little bit to get there. Diego, wow, $50. I really appreciate it. You're awesome. Love the vids. Thank you, Diego. That means a lot. I really appreciate it. It's you guys are the reason why I love making content, right? It's, because that's what you always hope for. When you're really into something, all you want to do is talk to people about the thing that you're really interested in. But if they're not interested in, that's a very one-sided experience. And I think this kind of allows all of us to come together and really kind of just geek out about this wonderful world. Rufus, what's your favorite tribe? To this day, I'm Banuk through and through. Our enemies are prey. Frozen Wilds was amazing. So I think that's going to be Banuk. And when eventually I get a Horizon tattoo, which I'm slacking on a lot, that'll probably be Banuk themed. Fujitsu, they have 3 capitals. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like they have a capital for each of the clans, but I would consider Memorial Grove to be the capital because that's the seat of the chief. Do you think we will see Nil again, or the Gauntlet runs was his story's ending? Okay, so I hope we see more of Nil. I could take or leave the Gauntlet runs, if I'm being honest. I think it was a really cool concept, but it wasn't my favorite kind of side quest to go down. Thoughts and rumors of a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster or remake? I'd love to see updated graphics and conversational animation. Love your channel. Keep up the amazing vids. Thank you very much, EG, and thank you very much for the super chat. Yeah, it's obviously selfishly, I would love to see how Zero Dawn would look if it looked like Forbidden West. I think that would be just shocking to see all the places that we love and all the crazy impactful moments kind of brought to life in this new way. I think that would be really awesome. However, if it takes resources away from developing a third game and getting that to us in a timely manner, then I could wait for the remake until later on. They massacred Nil, no more abs. Everybody got ab nerfed in Forbidden West. Like, anybody who had good abs really kind of just lost their abs between the first game and the last game. Luckily, they didn't show Vanasha's abs, because if they nerfed her abs, like that's just downright criminal. The best abs in the 31st century belong to Vanasha. So we're just gonna, I think it's still canon that her abs remain, because we haven't seen anything otherwise. Justice for Nil's abs. Let's see here. It would have been better if there was a bigger reward for Strike, though. Yeah, Strike was fun. I enjoyed it. I don't think anything tops Gwent for me as far as like an in-game playable game, but I thought it was a cool concept. I would love to have like an actual physical board for that game. I have a cultural question. There might not be a canon answer, but just your opinion/theory. If the Banuk believe everyone does everything for themselves, where are Banuk children? Well, it's less that I think the Banuk are like inherently self-centered. I think that there's between them and the Tanakh, I think they are by far and away the most meritocracy focused society, right? Like, you make it or you don't. But it's not like they don't give you the tools to survive, right? You learn within your Warwick to, whether you're kind of going on a more shamanistic journey or a more hunter journey. So they give you the tools to succeed, I think. Otherwise, they would just all be dead. So I think from a very early age, Banuk are like, you better do the right things to survive. If not, then you're not. But, I don't think they just kind of leave that to nature. I think they try to strive to be their best and make the best. Let's see here. I would love to see in a few years a version of the trilogy where we can explore all the maps as one. I think that'd be really cool. They did something similar in Red Dead Redemption 2. But if you're going to do that, I really hope that they populate it with interesting things to do. Because, like, in that game, you could revisit those areas, but there wasn't, like, a ton to be done. And I totally understand. You're making, like, a whole other game for your game. But that's just kind of like a wish, too, that I would love. RSQ, Your thought on on a construction class of machine. Cauldrons and transmitter towers had to be built by something. Yeah, I kind of have a suspicion that like the first machines that had to be built were like glint hawks and scrappers because, yeah, you needed to build transmission arrays for Minerva, and you probably needed a machine that didn't rely on biofuel so you didn't wake up the Pharaoh Plague. So if you notice, like I'm pretty sure Glint Hawks and Scrappers both have power cells versus, being powered by blaze. So if I were to take a guess, those would be like the first machines that would kind of serve that role because they wouldn't have been detected, or at least really were made interesting to the Pharaoh Plague. When will your next Legends video come out? And what or who will you be featured about? And Call of the Mountain looks cool, but not the price of VR2. Yeah. Victor, that's a really good question. Next video comes out pretty early next year. I want to say hopefully next week. We'll see if I can get it done and drop next Sunday. But it will be about Nemesis. Your thoughts on every third character being LGBTQ in Forbidden West? It's like I'm in it for interesting characters. Whatever makes a character more interesting is fine by me. That's the thing that, are they an endearing character in their values and their arc? Everything else kind of comes secondary. Let's see. The endless power cells were my least favorite thing, to be honest. Any chance you think Silence or Beta, Beloy, will access Apollo and the Burning Shores? I think she is the person to really kind of get the most out of it because she, actually worked within the framework of Apollo when she was being educated on her journey on the Odyssey. I know Silence is going to be hard pressed to give that information to anybody else, but I think Beta is really the key to getting the most out of it. Can horses swim? We know most of the chariot lines skittered along the ocean floor, but I'm not sure about the horse. Yeah, the only knowledge that we have of how the swarm traversed the ocean was the fact that they walked beneath it. So I would say that the horse is probably in that vein as well. Do you think Burning Shores will touch on Silent's backstory like Frozen Wilds was? Maybe he is from across the sea like the Quinn. That would be really cool. I'm always in to find out more about Silence, and that was one of the best additional things that we got from the Frozen Wilds is that Aurea kind of spills the beans on how he came from the Owl's Watch Warwick, ended up earning the trust of the tribe, robbed the Malmstrom, and when she went back to confront the people who had vouched for him, they were like all gone. So I would love a little bit more like that. That'd be great. Who is your least favorite new character in Forbidden West? I don't know. There's a lot of I really enjoyed all the core characters quite a bit. I will tell you, I think my favorite one was Kotalo. I think his whole arc was really great. And that's what you look for, right? It's like you have a character that starts off here, then they learn something and they grow and they kind of have that newfound respect. So I'm not sure if I have a least favorite character, but I think Kotalo was my new favorite character. I will say, though, I think Talana could have been utilized more. So maybe it's not like she's my least favorite character, but I feel like she was the most underutilized in Forbidden West. We kind of got a resolution as to where the comic arc, the Sunhawk arc, left off. So we kind of got some nice clarification on that. But beyond that, I was really bummed that she wasn't part of the last charge onto the Zenith base either, because then at that point you'd really have kind of a representative from each tribe, and that's a cool bit of symbology. Like, this is our world defending itself against you guys, or what we perceived at that point to be the big enemy, because then you have Kotalo, who is Tenakth, you have Alva, who's Quinn. We'll put Silence in an honorary, at least Banuk category. Erend, who is Oseram. Zoe, who's Utaru. Aloy, who's at least was born Nora, and then it was like, where's the Karja? You could have had Talana kind of fill that role. So both Talana and Regala were very underutilized. Yeah, because she was Angela Bassett, right? I mean, like you have a really awesome actor in that role. Like, let them sing. Sorry if you'd answer this, but do you have any idea where Elysium is? I believe Elysium is close to the Norris Sacred Land. There's a data point that kind of points to the fact that you could get there within a couple miles of the bunker that's in where Aloy finds her focus, but I think it's just a couple miles away, probably in NORAD. Hey, love all of the stream and the channel. Very pissed I'm being refused a chance to play the DLC. It really pisses me out. Like I said, Rab, yeah, it's, that's the thing. I really do feel for a lot of our community who's not going to be able to play the Burning Shores, right? Whether it's, price point or availability, a lot of people can't get their hands on a PS5. So at least on my part, I will try to bring you, if you want to watch. I understand if you want to wait and kind of experience it for yourself whenever that may be. But I will have content on here if you want to get filled in as soon as possible. I will try my best to do that. What's your best guess for Horizon 3's year of release? 2027? 2026? If you're going by like the amount of time between Zero Dawn and Forbidden West. I wouldn't be surprised if it's another 5 years. Are you looking forward to underwater mounts that can peek their heads out from the water while they swim, like a dolphin? That would be really cool. I'd love like a really cool underwater mount. Maybe some kind of like marlin machine or like some kind of sailfish, kind of you can like skip around. That'd be cool. Talana was supposed to have a bigger part, but schedule clashes with her. Freya Parker work on Jurassic World. Dominion got in the way. Darn you, Jurassic World! Hate to see it. Rost is main character material gone too soon. Yeah. Everybody loves Rost. Totally understand. That is a DLC I want to see. Or at the very least, I think that should be the next arc of the comics. Because we have kind of an arc on Talana, we have an arc on Erend, and I think that would be a great medium to explore exactly what Rost went through in his journey. I think that would be really, really awesome. That's my hope. If we're not going to get a DLC or something like that, dedicated comic series to Rost's story after the death of his family would be excellent. Sea otter robots. That'd be really adorable. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, also next year we'll be kind of leading up to the Burning Shores. We're bringing back Random Sidecast. So we're going to have a couple creators on here that are really, really, I'm excited to chat about with kind of the upcoming game. We had some really awesome guests last time. So in kind of lead up, we're going to be having some people come on the Random Sidecast. So look out for those too. Honest Cake. Hey, Chili, happy end of the year. Rost Comics would be incredible. We have to get more of that story. I totally agree. So for those of you guys who don't know, Honest has been part of the community for a long time here, and he's been making Horizon content as well. So be sure to check out his playthroughs and stuff. He's doing a really good job. Let's see here. Do you think we'll ever go to the Claim? Osram homelands are the only mainland tribe lands that we haven't seen. Yeah, I think they were cut in Zero Dawn. So, like I said, you would have to go, if you were using the Forbidden West map, you would have to go back east and then north to get to the Claim. So getting there from the... yeah, we might have missed that chance, which is a bummer. But, we'll see. I don't think that we're going to be able to get it. I think our kind of way to make up for that was the fact that we got Chain Scrape. Do you think they'll start exploring mythical robot animals like dragons or griffins? I'm not sure. I think there's still a ton to kind of, especially with like the fossil record to go through. Like, nature's crazy. You got a lot of inspiration there too. Badler, I'm glad to see you live. Thanks for all the lore videos. Thank you very much for watching. I'm glad to be here. Makes you wonder what's north of the Forbidden West. Yeah, it's just the Forbidden North. It's all forbidden. RSQ, now Aloy has possession of the shuttle at the Zenith base for Horizon 3. The world is unlocked. Yeah, it really, like I said, I am... Aloy in space kind of screams like jumping the shark for me, but if you do it right, you know, then please, by all means, prove me wrong. But yeah, I'm not sure. Do you think Ursa was underused in Zero Dawn with her importance in the Red Raids? Yeah, I do. But that's less of like underused. It's just more, especially what we learned in the comics and realizing how just BA she was. That's the hard part, right? I think her plot device was used well, but it's only like, man, we missed out on getting to know this really influential character, right? It's the same thing like, should we have had Jiran in Zero Dawn? It's like, no, even though a wildly interesting character, kind of just left to the lore, which is, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, Ursa had to die so Avad would be single again. Yeah, a lot of people pushing for Sun Queen Aloy. I know that. RSQ, do you think in Burning Shores we will use the original infrastructure of Enduring Victory to defeat the Horus? Horuses were brought down a lot through air superiority, as well as I know that they were basically detonating skyscrapers to drop on these things. So that is a way we could do it. Looks like there's some skyscrapers left. You could blow one up and have it land on a Horus. It might put a ding in it. Yeah, how we're going to deal with that is going to be very interesting. I know that we have access to EMPs now, which we're also used against the Swarm in Enduring Victory, so I'm not sure how successful they'll end up being, but yeah, it's an interesting thing. Am I the only one who thought Avad acted very differently in Forbidden West compared to him in ZD? Maybe a little bit. His hands position was really weird. He was like walking like this the whole time. That threw me off. Maybe just a little bit more bold than he was. Maybe a little less on his plate now that his city wasn't like in immediate and imminent danger. So maybe we'll kill it from within. I mean, aren't they like 100 miles long? They're big, and that's the thing, right? You can kill a lot with bows and arrows in Horizon. You need like some Oseram ballista to try to get that going. Hey, cool background. Thanks. You got my all my Zero Dawn and Forbidden West stuff over there that I've accumulated over the years. So yeah, we'll see. I understand Avad being thirsty for Aloy, but yeah, he came off as cringe. Not for everybody. Not sure if you already talked about it, but what are your thoughts on Quinn riding the Sunwing with Aloy? And thanks. Oh yeah, no worries, honest. Yeah, that's an interesting thing, right? I know a lot of people think that's Talana. It could be Talana. It'd be Talana in some Quinn garb. I think it's probably just more likely that it's a Quinn person with a long ponytail. Yeah, at first it's like the dynamic there is interesting because you could totally interpret it and see like they're fighting. They both look pretty aggressive, but also Aloy looks like she's pointing at the Horus. And also what Honest is talking about is if you look at the official art, like the hero art for the DLC, you see Aloy riding a Sunwing, but she's not by herself. It appears to be with like a Quinn person, which is one of those things that point me that, as well as her wearing Quinn armor, kind of all points towards a very Quinn-centric DLC, in my opinion. Sorry about this glare, guys. My window over there is being weird. Hey RSQ, hope your year was amazing. Thank you. About the third Horizon game, do you think Nemesis arrives? It will assimilate Hephaestus in order to make even more terrifying machines to enact its plan. Whether it does, I'm fairly certain it could. That's its whole thing, right? Kind of imprinting the consciousness within onto either organic or mechanical vessels, right? Whether it will, I don't know. Could it? I definitely think so. It does look like Olin's house, your background. Oh, my little Soji screen back there. Yeah, I'm living in Olin's house too. Aloy lives there for a while. I just live in Olin's house. Actually, closer to the Nora Sacred Land, if we're being honest. Someone noticed that Quinn is wearing a diviner's focus. That's really interesting too. Yeah, the whole kind of headpiece that's designed around the focuses that they found. Yeah, so it could be a diviner. I would be shocked if we didn't get more kind of important Quinn DLCs, NPCs, along with Alva, obviously. With the data point of Vast Silver being called the Singularity, do you believe the writing team is teasing or trolling us, or do you think the AI could have been the starting point for Nemesis? I do. So I kind of talked about this a little bit before, and I kind of go into some speculation in this next video that I'm going to do. You know, as far as Vast Silver goes, Vast Silver is important for a couple of reasons. One, it kind of created, it represents humanity reaching the singularity, where a super intelligent AI is no longer theoretical, it's actually happened. So it does represent that, which is a big kind of inspiration for Peter Shimvumbe, the founder of Far Zenith, to start his journey on transhuman studies and digital consciousness upload, which is the precursor kind of to what they would end up doing with Nemesis. So Vast Silver is really important in that way. And I think, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, the fact that Vast Silver was captured could be a hint or a jumping off point to how Nemesis could be captured if we could track down Vast Silver. I've also been tossing around in my brain for quite some time the fact that being that it seems Anita Sandoval, the founder of Firebreak, worked on Vast Silver, at least it's implied to be that in the data point 0.6 in the Frozen Wilds, if you want to look at it. And the fact that Elizabeth Sobek was just a pioneer in this thing, I would not be shocked if Vast Silver was a Pharaoh automated solutions project, right? Like they were involved in so much of the clawback as far as bringing the world back when Elizabeth was working there. It wouldn't shock me at all that Vast Silver was a Pharaoh automated solutions project. And it also wouldn't surprise me if Pharaoh sold Vast Silver to Far Zenith to make a buck. I totally would not be shocked if Vast Silver was then transferred to Far Zenith in order to further those transhuman goals. Whether it's part of Nemesis, as has been speculated, like on Reddit and some places that I've seen, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure if the personality profile matches up, where what we've seen from Vast Silver is actually very much wanting human connection opposed to wanting to kill humanity, is kind of up in the air. But I do think Vast Silver does play a big role, as it does for all artificial intelligence in Horizon, right? It was kind of the first to reach that point, and it was so advanced that they decided that no other AI should be really that advanced again, and that founded the MIE after the Turing Act was passed. So it limited sentience for future AI until Gaia was created, and Elizabeth's like, whatever, I don't care about the MIE, we're just going to ramp this thing up. So yeah, I think that Vast Silver in some way will be key to Nemesis. I don't personally think that it is within Nemesis, but its precedence and kind of gravity and the lore kind of lay the foundation for what Nemesis would eventually become. Give me 1 second here, guys. I promise I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to close these blinds because this is bothering me. And we're back. That's much better. Okay, where are we at? Oh, kind of better. Where is this light coming from? Anyway. Let's see. Let's trace it back. Oh, it's coming through my blinds. Okay. Sorry, guys, if that's annoying you as much as it's annoying me. I feel robbed not seeing Mutant Ted. I know a lot of people want to see Mutant Ted. I'm okay with not seeing Mutant Ted. That's another thing that I thought would go differently. I kind of thought that Ted would just kind of slowly die by himself in that bunker. I thought that would have been poignant too. The Sun, don't talk about my speaker that way. Yeah, sorry, Avad. Tilda once said that Elizabeth was always one step ahead, and that really stuck with me. Yeah, I think we're going to find out more about Elizabeth as well. Like I said, I think Elizabeth was probably involved in the creation of Vast Silver. I think it would be hard to not do that. Maybe be a dumb question, but where do you think, in your opinion, Vast Silver might be, or who has it? That's not a dumb question, Victor. That's the question we're all asking. I think, honestly, now more than ever, I think Vast Silver is on Earth, liberated somewhere, and living its best life. And I think it's going to be our job to track it down and figure out how it was captured, and that would lend us to kind of learn how we can trap Nemesis. RSQ, did you get and build a Lego tall neck? Any other machines you'd like by Lego? I do. I did. I built it. It's on my desk right now, and we love it. My wife and I made it. So here's our tall neck. Now, it was super, super fun. Other machines that I would like to see in Lego, I think Thunderjaw's at the top of the list. I think it's one of, if not the most iconic machine next to the tall neck. Because, yeah, this one has a little baby watcher on it. Let's see here. Close the blinds before Pharaoh bots find you. Yeah, sacrifice. I have to go. I have to close the seal of my window. No, I'm not as cool as Elizabeth. Maybe Elizabeth coded Vast Silver with Anita when she was at Pharaoh, and later Vast Silver made Pharaoh Plague Rogue. That was my original thing, where I had speculated if the Pharaoh Plague and the unknown transmission had been caused by the same entity, that my best guess, and really the only guess that made sense, was Vast Silver. But now that we know that the unknown transmission was sent by Nemesis, I think that Vast Silver kind of can once again maybe more easily fall in the category of ally, which I've always wanted, and I really hope that's the case. Do you think there's another clone of Ted on Earth somewhere? I really hope not. Beta ended up turning out okay, but when I'm like, oh, another clone of Elizabeth, like, okay, this is a bit much. And then it's like, oh, there's a clone of Ted. I was like, oh, okay, that's a bit much. But I do realize the importance of beta now, because it allows, it's the closest thing Aloy could have ever had to a family. So I do think that there was a really good, purposeful reason for that. I hope that there's not a clone of Ted Pharaoh out there. I know some people were like, well, maybe like the CEO was a clone of him, but if that was the case, then he could have got into the bunker without Aloy's help. Also, CEO, great character. Hated him. Hated the CEO, but that's why he's a really fun character. RSQ, what do you think they'll add in terms of machines for the Burning Shores? I'd personally like to see more flyers, aquatics, and possible more mountable machines. Yeah, I'd also like to see some of our old friends brought back. I was a big fan of the Trampler, so I hope we see more Tramplers out there, honestly. As far as other machines are concerned, man, that's a hard question. Yeah, I'm sure that we're going to see a shark machine at some point. It seems like, it seems inevitable. Aloy was the Liz clone in HCD. Beta was the Liz clone in Horizon Forbidden West. We should get a third Liz clone in Horizon 3. We'll complete the set. We'll just keep cloning Elizabeths until we get a full basketball team that we can field. Just seen a rumor that the Horizon Remaster is not being done by Guerrilla. That's concerning. If I remember correctly, they didn't do the port for the PC version either, and that kind of had a litany of problems on release. Now, that could be wrong. I could be misremembering, but I don't know about that. Interesting. They just put a bunch of job postings for additional work, so they might be looking to do. I know they're tackling something else in-house. Don't know what it is. But yeah, it's weird that there were no Striders on the West. Maybe we'll see Striders in. My favorite were Broadheads. I actually really like the Broadheads. I would like to see Broadheads come back too. Decima Engine or Bust. It's a good one. Yep. Let's see here. Fire resistant machines. There are a few out there, but completely immune. That'd be nuts. Roberto RSQ. What if Vast Silver is pulling a Hades, manipulating a tribe to get what it wants, and what if that tribe is an enemy of the Quinn and trying to steal their knowledge. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, especially if it's looking for human connection as far as what we at least... And the thing is about Vast Silver, what we know about it is very limited. It's brought up in a handful of data points, and to kind of make a ton of assumptions about it, that you just kind of really have to understand there's a fair bit of speculation that goes into whenever you're talking about Vast Silver. So until we get to see it or get a little bit more concrete information, it's going to be it's hard to discern what its motivations are, at least now in the 31st century. Do you think Aloy will travel to the Quinn homeland, Asia in Horizon 3? I think there's a good chance that it could be Asia. I think that would be a very interesting turn, because then if you're in Asia, you might also be able to go into the South Pacific a little bit, which is where the Pharaoh Plague kind of originated. So that would be cool to kind of visit like ground zero for the Pharaoh Plague, like around, Timor. I think that'd be really cool. Frost Clamberjaw? No more Clamberjaws. No more Clamberjaw. I didn't know there could be a machine more annoying than the Glint Hawk, but let me tell you, I think the Clamberjaw is the new most. And hey, if you like the Clamberjaw, like, let it go. But God, they're so annoying. They like make Glint Hawks look like a breeze. Forget Me Not, thank you very much for your donation. Do you think the possible new machines in the multiplayer the hiring for Guerrilla Games is working on could convolute the lore in Horizon 3? I certainly hope not. However, I will say it does seem to be a priority for Guerrilla for things to be kept organized and consistent. I will say that. So I think they are doing what they can to make sure that things are kept very cohesive and are not contradicting each other. Let's see. Yeah. I hate Clamberjaw. Yeah. Clamberjaws have such a cool design, but yeah, death to them all. For real, one of the worst fights I ever had in Forbidden West was one of those salvage contracts. It was the one where you're in kind of the lowland Tanakh territory and you're supposed to kill stalkers, but every time I killed a stalker, a Clamberjaw would come out to scavenge it, and then I'd have to kill that, but then another Clamberjaw would come to scavenge that, and I swear I was there for maybe like 10 minutes just killing Clamberjaws over and over and over again, and I was just like, I think this is where I'm going to die. I'm going to die here. I think I'm just here forever. Yeah. Is there a monkey in the game? It would be extremely annoying. KK, yes, there is. And the Clamberjaw is extremely annoying. So, let's see here. What else do we have before I just go off on Clamberjaw some more? What new weapons would you like to see in the next game / DLC? Just Quinn weapons and armor, I think would be really, really cool. I think they have a really cool aesthetic. I think their swords look really cool. I think that'd be really awesome. RSQ, full elemental proof machine, legendary type. That's another thing I would love to see. We didn't get one in Forbidden West, but some of the, at least the lore and story-wise perspective that I found really interesting was Red Maw in the main game for ZD and the Claws Beneath, which was for the Frozen Wilds, and just having like one really crazy version. And I know we got Apex machines and they're great, but one that's really impactful. And it doesn't need to be like super strong or anything. Like Apex Thunderjaws are way stronger than, Red Maw, but being that Red Maw was so iconic and was so ingrained in the lore of the cards, I thought was really cool. So I'd love to see more like that and legendary machines. RSQ, I love the Slitherfang. The Slitherfang is really cool. I actually kind of like the original design for it more. I like machines that don't look exactly like their predecessor. I like there to be some variation. I thought the Plowhorn was a really good example of that, where, when you have like the singular eye and so you could tell what inspired it, but it wasn't like a one for one. So yeah, I thought that Slitherfang was really cool and really well done. But if you can kind of, like how Striders don't look exactly like horses, or, Thunderjaw doesn't look exactly like a T-Rex. I think those are a little bit more interesting than like um, they're like the slaughter spine, you know? Spectre Prime suits for all ZD new humans. Heck yeah, let's go. RSQ, the Plowhorn was really good as well. Yeah, I really like the Plowhorn and the Grimhorn. Nintendo Gaming Channel, thank you very, very much for your donation. You believe Elizabeth Sobek Ranch is located which state in which city? So this was kind of an interesting point of contention for me because I would have thought that Aloy actually went to a part of the Forbidden West before Forbidden West. Because if you're talking about Sobek Ranch, if I am correct, and please feel free if I'm not, I'm fairly certain that Elizabeth Sobek was born in Carson City, Nevada. Which would mean, if you're kind of taking a stance as to where that family ranch would be, it would be somewhere in Nevada, which is the they're the same acronym, FW, the Forbidden West. So I would say Sobek Ranch is somewhere in Nevada, probably close to Carson City, because that's where Dr. Sobek was born. So that would be my best guess. And if you want to double check that, you could check Elizabeth Sobek's bio in either Forbidden West in the section they have about her, or the Zero Dawn data point. So hopefully that helps. Thank you for your donation. Let's see here. Considering Nemesis is a big boy, maybe we'll need to develop special types of energy arrows to put a dent, but still keep the game with the classic bow. Yeah, I think it might be one of those, like, it got brought up kind of like with Ultron earlier, where you're going to have to get it into like one body before you can really kill it. So I think that would be interesting. There's a mod in HZD where you can go to Sobek Ranch. That's really cool. I don't play on PC, and I'm terrible about modding things. RSQ, the Metal Devil is back. Yeah, the Horus is a terrifying thing. If you ever want to see, like, you're like, ooh, that's really sketch, just read the Bandasea incident data point from Zero Dawn, and it goes into a little bit of what a Horus is all about. What is the machine gun equivalent of a compound bow? They kind of had one of those in Zero Dawn. The Karja used like a Hwacha, like a portable, like gunpowder powered arrow launcher. So I liked those. I'd love to see more of those. I just hope we're getting more new machines. Forbidden West only had like 3. They could do more. I thought they had more than 3. They like Tide Ripper, Rollerback, Burrower, Slitherfang. Did I say Tide Ripper? I thought they added quite a few, but I'm always down for more machines. Yep. Rage Pig gets it. Chowing down on Dolphin Chum. Yep. you know your lore. Let's see here. EG says Claw Strider. Those are really cool. I also like the fact that we had the option. I would love more of these. We only get one combat class mountable machine. Like, if you put me on the back of a Ravager, baby, like, let's go. Let's make it happen. Do you think that any of the main cast, Aloy, her team, Silence, could possibly die in the 3rd game? I'm sure Zoe isn't safe since she has a kid, but who knows? Oh yeah, people are dying. They took out Varro. There are going to be some people who are gone. Thanks again there, Nintendo. Question 1. Who do you think last U.S. president? Question 2. What political party was the final U.S. president? There's not a lot to be said about that, honestly. The only things that kind of bring up the federal government that I'm thinking of off the top of my head is in reference to the hot zone crisis. So I would look at those data points, but there's no indication as to who they were or what political affiliation they had. I would love to see them add more combat mechanics, a ricochet shot bow or parry. That would be really cool. I'd be in for that. I could see them taking Zoe's kid to the Sacred Lands to be safe while fighting Nemesis. I think that'd be really nice. Yeah. Sona would raise that kid to be pretty tough. Like, Zoe is very tough and formidable in her own right, but I'm pretty sure that Zoe is on an entirely different tier as far as warriors go. Kind of like, I bet she would, I'm not sure she'd win, but I bet she could put up a good scrap against the Enduring when both of them were in their prime. RSQ, my question is, if Minerva was responsible for shutting down all the Pharaoh robots, how do you think the Horus was revived, and do you think it will have all of its capabilities? Well, Minerva did force deactivation codes on the swarm, roughly estimate around 50 years after 0 day. However, we've seen through the eclipse that people have been able to raise individual Pharaoh machines, given the knowledge that you could kind of follow that through, which came from Silence, which came from Hades, which honestly, kind of looking back, probably came from Nemesis. So somebody with that kind of knowledge could do that, but just because Minerva shut down the swarm as a whole has not shown us that individuals cannot be kind of resurrected as the eclipse did. Good question. Let's see here. Yeah, RagePig. Apple Inc. or Amazon was the last party to hold office. It's funny. I'm not sure if you're actually joking about that, RagePig, because there is a very interesting thing that is brought up about that in a data point in Horizon Zero Dawn called Shot v. Frost, which allowed political candidates to, or rather allowed corporations to hold office through proxy candidates. So you joke about that. That could absolutely have happened. So yeah, there's the answer to that question. Let's see here. RSQ, I want the Deathbringer. Yeah, I bet we get some Deathbringers in this one. I think so. I think that'd be cool. Because yeah, we didn't see those either. We did see some Scarabs, but yeah, bring back the Deathbringer. I'm here for it. Has anyone wanted to shoot Silence besides me? Doug, I'm probably sure at some point everybody's wanted to. He came out smug as sin in Forbidden West. Like when you're seeing the hologram of him where he's like, and I've actually made progress. You're like, dang, dude, you are like, you're vibing. You're like, let's see here. The Horus will probably make Deathbringers in Burning Shores. They certainly can. That's like their whole thing. Let's see. RSQ, do you have a personal guess to what happened to Eden? Do you think it will be visited in the next game? I'm not sure if what you're referencing as far as Eden goes. If you're thinking maybe Elysium, we've talked about that a little bit. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to visit there, but if I missed something, I'd love to know. RSQ, I've been waiting 5 years to kill Silence. We get ready to wait 5 more because he looks like he's living with us now. Let's see here. Do you think the PS5 exclusivity in future Horizon projects will mean we will be able to ride bigger machines? If they're doing this, which they are, I really hope it does open up possibilities, right? You got to make it worth it, because if you're not, release it on the PS4, right? How come we never see other FAS robot competitors in the world? That's a really good question, Hyper. Because there were, especially like before Pharaoh Automated Solutions was kind of like the leader in automated military technologies. There were companies like General Synthetics, right? That was like the drone fleet that was supplied to the US government for the Hot Zone crisis. So, either they became obsolete or they were used by the Pharaoh Plague and manipulated as such to kind of go through. Or they were destroyed leading up to the Pharaoh Plague to prevent that, because that was like a whole thing. It's like, why don't we send our robotic war fleets to go defeat the Pharaoh Plague? It's like, well, they would just get turned against you, and then you'd be fighting your war fleet and the Pharaoh Plague. So I would say there might be a good chance that there was a concerted effort to destroy as many automated military technologies as possible before the Pharaoh Plague had a chance to manipulate them. So that could be it. At least from a lore justification. What part of the country would you like the third game to go? Well, a lot of people are thinking about Asia, which would be pretty cool, as far as kind of like traversing across the ocean with the Quinn, because I'm not sure if it makes a lot of sense to go back east, right? Because you went kind of central continental United States, west coast continental United States, and if you kind of keep moving west, that's kind of your natural next point. RSQ, do you consider us prior final 6 months as yeah, I don't know. It's like there's so much corporate warfare as far as the political structure, kind of across the board, just globally. So let's see here. RSQ, I want to go to the Amazon. Roxy, it might be back, but I hate to break it to you, the Amazon was destroyed by the Pharaoh Plague as it skittered its way up through South America after crossing the Strait of Magellan. So I'm sorry, but it might be back. It might be back. It might be back. It might be back. But it definitely fell during the Pharaoh Plague. How about Australia? That would be interesting too, especially we talked about kind of like the South Pacific being very important to the lore of Horizon. So I think that'd be interesting. Since the title is Burning Shores, I really hope to get fire or lava variant of machines. Fire Shell Snapper, Fire Snapmaw, Fire Stormbird. That would be terrifying, like a Firebird. That'd be dope. Piranha and Anaconda machines in the Amazon. That would be, oh god, talk about annoying. Try to kill like piranha machines. They're so little. Oh yeah, I noticed on the map that Florida was completely submerged underwater. Yeah, if you look at some of the big maps that get brought up when Aloy's talking to Gaia, yeah, Florida's not there anymore. Quite a bit of Southern California isn't there either. This like all kind of extended into the California Baja Peninsula. So yeah, giant spider robot. Here's the deal, Rufus, about any kind of insect or arachnid machines. I think you're actually probably going to not see a lot of those in Gaia's repertoire, because from a development standpoint, like aesthetically, they wanted the Pharaoh machines to look a lot different than Gaia's machines. So they ended up going very mammalian or kind of like theropod or dinosaur-esque for Gaia's machines, and kind of as a juxtaposition to the Pharaoh machines that are more insect arachnidoid. So I don't think that we're going to see any Gaia machines that are spider oriented. I think those kind of insect ones are purposely left for Pharaoh. RSQ, I can't remember if this was ever covered in a data point, but could a Horus theoretically create another Horus if given enough biomatter, or would it be too big to be born? I think it could eventually manufacture one. I think we'll probably have to piecemeal it and then have scarabs put it together, because that's one of like their main things, is that their tails are capable of like surgically precise repairs. So they could probably construct something if given enough time. I would say so. Let's see here. RSQ, do you think Hephaestus will make Spectre variants of current machines based on the ending of Forbidden West? Roxy, that's a really cool point, because Hephaestus did get access to the Zenith printing matrix at the end there, so it might have kind of taken a tip or two from Zenith manufacturing. I think that'd be really cool. I'm not sure if it'll happen, but I think that's a really cool and valid idea. Wolf machine mount for the next game? I'm here for it. Let's go full Princess Mononoke on this thing. Thoughts on open world job postings, and if there would be lore in that kind of game, or just running around fun? I don't know. It's I'm sure there are going to be all kinds of stuff to fill the open world that they're creating. It's just like hopefully it's not just running around. I hope there's stuff to do there. Let's see. Yeah, Nintendo, I'm not sure if there's any like real life person. They kind of, you can watch the Gaia cast, and Ben McCaw kind of gets into how people are kind of based off of these amalgam personalities from our real world, but I don't think they carry those over into the game. They're all kind of fictional. Alana McIntosh, RSQ, who's your favorite character in the base? That is a really good question. Varl. He's my favorite. I would say, man, I think I like Kotalo when he's there. There's an MMO coming, question mark. Signs point to yes, or some kind of multiplayer Horizon experience. This is just rumors. I don't know anything. I haven't been confirmed anything or told anything. Honestly, if you want really good up-to-date information like that, you can go. I'm sure all of you are already, but just subscribe to our buddy Jor Raptor. He's really on top of that stuff. He watches all that stuff. Yeah, RSQ, Kotalo is very cool. He's the coolest. He doesn't have to try to be cool. He's just cool. RSQ, do you believe Sona blamed Aloy for Varl's death? You know, she's a warrior. She's heartbroken, I'm sure, but also, like, it's like when you're at war, people die. So I'm not sure if she would have, like, really made that would put the blame on her, more as just be like, that's unfortunate, you know, kind of push it down, internalize it. KP Creations, they have confirmed a multiplayer experience. There you go. RSQ, isn't it weird that it seems like nobody tried to build an actual multi-generation bunker? Even one of those working should have been enough for human knowledge to survive. Yeah, it is pretty interesting. And who knows how many, you know, Ted Farrow was able to build kind of a bunker, but he had heads up that this was happening. Elysium was never designed to be that way. I guess it's like, can you make a sustainable kind of underground bunker? But apparently there was a dossier or something that they gave to potential Zero Dawn candidates that kind of outlined why this is the only scenario. It's not given to us, but apparently there was a reason why this was like the main thing. Kirsty Focus, they confirmed they're working on a multiplayer in-house. Excellent. Okay, good stuff. All right. I will. That's actually the thing that I really am excited about. You know, I'm a big, like, my lore journey really started as far as video games concerned with Destiny and creators like My Name is Vife, and it was always really cool that he was able to bring people on to raid or stream or something like that. So when that comes out, I would love to do something like that, and, you know, every once in a while, like, bring a community member in, and, you know, we can you know, stream and do something. I think that'd be really cool. That's the thing that I'm looking forward to most about multiplayer experience. I think the inhabitants of the base are a new group of alphas: Zoe, Eleuthia, Varl, Hades, etc. I think there might be some symbology there, maybe. You know, this new generation trying to steward this new generation forward. I think that could be really, really cool. How did the Quinn know about Thebes if they didn't have access to info post 2040s or 2050s? I think they didn't know about it until they got there. I think they were looking for something to help them with Leviathan, the kind of the flood system in the Quinn homeland. But they kind of ended up stumbling upon the Hades bunker after quite a significant time there. So I don't think they knew, like, they didn't depart going to San Francisco knowing that Thebes would be there. They knew that San Francisco was important, but I think they ended up just kind of discovering that incidentally. RSQ, what's your general opinion on the Quinn? I'm very interested in the Quinn. Whether or not I'm in like agreeing with their political pantheon, or like as Silence put it, make a pantheon out of corporate shills. I think that's very interesting. I'm not sure if I'm like, I would want to be Quinn, but I'm very interested to learn more about them for sure. I think it's a very interesting thought process to kind of dive into. Let's see here. I specifically remember Ben McCaw saying Aaron sees Aloy like Ursa as a sister. Potentially. I'm not sure. I don't know that positively. Leviathan was probably for the Yellow River, which is infamous for its flood issues. Yeah, I'm hoping to get more more interest as far as more information, especially concerning nailing down a location for their homeland, because we have some hints, but yeah, it's not quite good enough for me to be like, it's definitely here. Hi everyone, just finished the game. Couldn't play it when it launched, but why would Nemesis still want to kill us if the Zeniths that he wanted to kill are dead? That's a really fine question, and it really does depend on how free-thinking or malleable Nemesis is as an entity, right? Can it be convinced that, hey, Zeniths aren't here, or does it care about those kind of things? I know it wanted to just, stop a safe haven from being established, but humanity here did stop Nemesis, so it could have a vendetta out against us because Aloy stopped. Gaia technically stopped Hades from manipulating the system, and then we ended up destroying Hades. So it might, it might have issues there. RSQ, specifically, are you interested in seeing in the Burning Shores DLC? I think everybody's here for the Horus. More information about the Quinn, how the Horus is resurrected, and I think that's the big thing. We've been going for almost about 2 hours here, so I say we've got about 5 minutes. And I've really appreciated everybody tuning in, by the way. This has been awesome. I know it's New Year's Eve, and, people got plans, and people are, all over the place as far as the world's concerned, so different time zones. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Alana, RSQ, do you think Vast Silver is still out there? If so, where? I do think Vast Silver is still out there, and I think that's going to be a principal thing in the third game. After kind of talking through it just now with you guys, I think Vast Silver may be the key to learning how to trap an AI, specifically going to be Nemesis in this next game. RSQ, more of an analysis question. Thoughts on the idea that the series thesis is about the dangers of ego, Pharaoh, capitalism in the old world, Aloy learning to embrace Nemesis. I think it's a real story about potential, right? You have these two people, especially in the beginning, and then you have it later on. You have Elizabeth and Ted, who are both very talented in what they do, but it's what they do with that talent and capability is what defines them, right? Same thing with Aloy and Silence, where you have two people who are very gifted and very driven to see their goals done, but what's the intent behind them? And it's, it's a human capacity story, a great capacity for, love and empathy and progress and growth, opposed to also humanity, great propensity for being self-interested and destructive and violent. So it's really, for me, that's kind of what rings true. Very excited to see Gildan soon. Heck yeah. He was a really cool character in the Frozen Wild. So I'm hopefully we get to see him again, him and Bryn. RSQ, ever wonder how many unknown tribes there are out there in Horizon's world? Also, Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. I think, probably countless, and also tribes that have been absorbed by other tribes. The Quinn conquered a number of different tribes on their own. So what tribes don't even exist that have been kind of wiped out already? EG, thank you for your donation. Thank you for the fun stream. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well. Even though Hades is dangerous, do you believe it could have helped Gaia's heuristic matrix in capturing Hephaestus? It could have definitely added to it. I'm not sure if it's worth doing, though. Hades has proven to be the one subfunction that can assert control over Gaia by design. So I think that's just a risk they weren't willing to take. Happy New Year, Roxy. Let's see, Flex, RSQ. What else could Pharaoh have done with his Omega clearance? Ted wants things his way, wanted control. It was a clearance above, Alpha Prime. So really anything through Zero Dawn he could have accessed. That's the thing, right? So could Hades be restored to its original code? I think that door was shut once Aloy purged Hades, because in the Hades Proving Lab, if you go over to like the other big wheel, so you have the one where you pull the Gaia kernel and you go over to where the Hades ones were, they say they were all corrupted. So there may be a chance that Hades is actually gone for good. What would be fascinating to see is an actual permanent Quinn city. I am here for it. Would we want Hades back though? Yeah, unless you wanted like a really fully completed Zero Dawn, I think we can leave him out of the set. I came across the Quinn casually casualty ledger in Legacy's Landfall, my new game plus yesterday, it lists Quinn lost on the expedition. The list ends censored. For which cause of death do you think is censored? I don't know. Like evisceration. They just got lasered down, just melted. Just like, we don't want to freak out the rest of the Quinn, so we're not going to tell them that our people were melted. We know the Karja and Nora came from the same cradle facility. What about the Osram and Banuk? So everybody but the Quinn came from Eleuthia 9 originally, and that was confirmed in a Gaia cast, I believe, by Annie Catane, who is the senior writer of the game. Because, yeah, that wasn't told to us in the game, but I'm 99.9% sure that that was confirmed by her in the Gaia cast. Shout out to Annie, by the way. She's super awesome as well. Let's see here. Do you think Ted had a thing for Liz? Felt like he had a mother-father complex with him wanting to take care of her kids. Man, Ted is a wild character. You know, it's maybe at one point, but, you know, I think he probably ended up resenting her quite a bit, but never losing respect for her capabilities, which is why, like, despite all of their past interactions, he was the one who called her when he couldn't figure out what was going on with the Pharaoh Plague. So, Scarlet is 100% confirmed in the Gaia cast. Thank you. I thought so. I appreciate that. Do you think the Quinn will take up a permanent residence in Legacy's Landfall? Maybe start an international trade with the USA tribes? Potentially. Starting off with trade and maybe imperialistic expansion, I think, is probably more their vibe. All right, guys, last questions in here. I've enjoyed this profusely, but I'm sure it's getting late for a lot of you guys. Yeah, honestly, there were so many things wrong with Ted. RSQ, do you think Aloy will ever return to the Sacred Lands? If another DLC will be made for the Forbidden West, that's what it could be about. Aloy, and so traveling there basically be dedicated to Varl. That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. I'd like that. I'm not sure. Maybe in a third game, but potentially. I'm seeing some Happy New Year's, guys. I really appreciate everybody tuning in and subscribing and being part of our journey here on the channel. We're growing all the time, and I really do think that we're becoming like the hub for Horizon lore nerds to kind of gather and hang out, and that makes me so happy. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful New Year's. We got some exciting stuff coming up in 2023, so we'll be kind of diving into that really soon. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Keep questing. Have a very safe New Year, and I hope your 2023 is amazing. Amazing. But anyway, I'll see all you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.